And an Ipsos study is showing the illegal trade of cigarettes is booming in South Africa. Now, that's despite a promise from SARS, the South African Revenue Service, to crack down on such operations. And here's what the researchers found. Illicit cigarettes are manufactured locally in factories licensed by the Revenue Service. Let's get some response from the Tobacco Institute of South Africa that commissioned the research. Chairperson Francois van der Merwe, good afternoon to you and welcome. So how can these factories be licensed then?
Well, we need to ask SARS. They are licensed, the brands are known. And our effort was to commission the research so that we could show SARS how big the problem is and how big the leak in the bucket is. This is the second time this year that we commissioned the study. The first time the SARS lost 7 billion annualized, and after all the promises we hoped that it would decrease. The second reading is shockingly higher. 42% of the informal market in South Africa is now illegal, and the loss has now gone up another billion, so SARS is now losing 8 billion rand on an annualized basis.
So if you're suggesting that illegal cigarettes are to all intent and purposes being manufactured legally because of the licensing, where is the fault line here?
The tax system on tobacco works on an honesty-based system where manufacturers are expected to declare their manufactured volumes before the volumes leave the factory. And that's where the problem comes. The honesty-based system doesn't work for those who evade taxes. So they would declare a small portion of their volumes, pay tax on that, and the rest, 90%, goes out the back door. And that is why it is possible that the biggest brand in the country now is RG, selling at an average price of 10 Rand, where the minimum tax owed to SARS is 17.85 to SARS.
Again, why isn't this being policed properly?
Well, there's no enforcement, and we have been pleading with SARS. We've been working with SARS. The commitments are good, but still, these operators continue with impunity. And since the first read, and now the second read, they've actually made hay while the sun shines. And the market has grown by aggressively expanding their distribution in all provinces in the country.
So the figures that I'm looking at show that illicit sales have soared 25% in the non-organized market. That's what your research is saying. Yet SARS previously, when the first body of research was done, had promised action. What action was promised, and what pressure now are you bringing on the service to make sure that it's acting responsibly within its mandate?
SARS made it clear that they committed to go after illicit operators. They also sent a message. We know SARS is incapacitated because of the destruction of the Moyane administration, destroyed SARS, so we understand these take time. Two things are required, and this is an easy solve. The one is audit factories immediately. If SARS doesn't have the capacity...
So this would be beyond Gold Leaf's RG organization?
Yes.
There are others that are also operating.
Audit all cigarette factories in South Africa.
Legal and non-legal?
Legal and non-legal. And if you don't have the capacity, get external third-party forensic auditors, and we'll even pay for that. So seriously are we about the matter. That's the one thing. The return on investment will be 8 billion. The second thing is clean out the market. Go to the big wholesalers and retailers who sell products below the tax rates. There's an Eastern Cape judgment of 2015 that said cigarettes selling below tax rates should be deemed illicit and can be seized.
How do I know that as a consumer? If I go to my local cafe or to my local garage, I'm buying my daily packet of cigarettes.
Well, price is the best indicator now of illegal cigarettes. Packaging these days, the guys are smart. They comply with all packaging regulations. They all looks legal on the face of it. But price is the major indicator. If you buy cigarettes below 17.85, it certainly is illegal and you shouldn't buy it.
So when you say 17.85, in what, 17 Rand 85?
Yes.
That would be the cheapest brand that you could buy?
No, 17.85 is the minimum tax owed to SARS on every packet of cigarettes. Right. That's 15.52 excise plus VAT on excise alone. So you can't sell cigarettes below 17.85. Then you haven't covered production cost, manufacturing cost, distribution cost, margins for anybody. So 17.85 is only the tax owed to SARS on a packet of cigarettes.
What does your organization know about Gold Leaf RG? I mean, who are they, how they're able to operate with this alleged impunity that you're suggesting?
Well, we just know that they operate 40 kilometers from the head office of SARS. We know they're registered with SARS, and we know they play around with taxes. Because the Ipsos research, which is independent, peer-reviewed, and and independently validated, tells us that they are selling 250 million packs per year.
Across all brands?
Across all brands. And their one brand, this is the first time in the history of South Africa, and as far as we know, the first country in the world where an illegal brand is now the biggest brand in the market. It has overtaken Peter Stuyvesant, which has been the biggest brand in the market for 50, 60 years, and selling at an average of 10 Rand versus a minimum tax of 17.85.
And which brand is this?
RG, made by Gold Leaf Tobacco Company.
So, again, a person goes to their shop and they buy a packet of that, they should know instantly that they are involved in an illicit deal.
Absolutely. Buying those brands is defrauding government, and our view is just the legal industry is bleeding because we cannot compete. If you have to pay your taxes, you cannot compete with 10 Rand prices on the market and as low as 5 Rand. So we need urgent action.
Again, with the second overture, or the second report, and I presume further overtures to SARS, what response are you getting?
Well, we got good responses as soon as yesterday, as recent as yesterday, because we've been asking to install tamper-proof counters on cigarette manufacturing machines so that the declarations are not made by hand or by honesty. Let it register with SARS every packet of cigarettes that's there. And also we've heard that there will be a replacement of the fiscal marker, which is a huge step forward. But still, these things take time. I said to Parliament, in 2 years' time the legal industry will be gone. That might be too long. We need urgent action, and urgent action is possible. The problem is not difficult to solve.
Why can't police investigate this? Why don't you simply lay charges?
Well, we have done all of that. The mandate of tax collection lies with SARS, primarily with SARS.
No, I understand that. But again, there's an illegal activity which you're alleging is being undertaken.
Absolutely. Yeah? And SARS and the police do not cooperate to the extent that they should. And in the market, SARS and police should work together and go and clean out the market, because there's precedent by a legal judge. Just seize all products selling below the tax rates.
And if the legal tobacco industry is wiped out, as you're suggesting, as a result of this, what's the jobs impact?
The jobs directly in the industry will be 12,000, with 30,000 dependents, mostly on farms in deep rural areas where other jobs are hard to find. Through the entire value chain, more than 100,000 jobs at stake. Total market is 30 to 33 billion cigarettes. We estimate this year only tax will be paid on only about 16 to 17 billion. So there's a lot of cigarettes on which taxes are not paid, and there's a huge return on investment for SARS here to act immediately. Francois van der Merwe from the Tobacco Institute, thank you very much indeed. So there you hear it, the tobacco industry in this country in real crisis.